Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, victims of Yobe airstrike lament neglect 2 years after as one dies in Zamfara. 397 convictions secured against terrorists. Ohinoi of Ibraland replies query for not welcoming President Buhari to his domain. Away from Nigeria, 9 killed in Burkina Faso mosque attack. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for joining. And now the details. Survivors of Buhari in Yobe State have called on the federal government to ensure that justice is served for victims of an erroneous airstrike that killed 8 people and injured many 2 years ago. They made the call when Trust TV visited the community following reports that some survivors were still healing from the airstrike. The report.
2 years ago, the people of Buhari community in Unisari local government woke up to the sound of a military airstrike. The incident claimed the lives of 8 people and left many injured. When the attack happened, those wounded had to travel 50 kilometers on a road to a health facility for treatment at Gaidam Hospital. But sadly, some of the survivors are yet to fully recover from the impact that came with the airstrike. The victims, who are not pleased with the military for allegedly neglecting the community since the incident happened, are demanding for compensation. Mustafa Abubakar lost his wife and 6 children. He still remembers the fateful day, a day he says he will never forget.
Kar na yadda na taho, kar na sake na taho. Take ce min su ma yau ba sa lamarin nan ba daɗi. Ba su san yadda suke kasancewa ba.
It was on Friday. I was at the market. Suddenly, we heard a loud sound. I learned that it was Boko Haram shooting, so we ran for safety to avoid being sighted. I called a relative who lives close to my house. She broke the news that my wife and children were dead.
Mun ji ba daɗi sosai fiye da yadda ake zato. Da ya ce aje an zo an gamu.
The government should come and see what they did. That's why we kept this. And since the attack happened, nobody came to check us. Even those who are wounded need help.
I'm so
much traumatized even now because I lost my brothers and sisters. 5 of them were inside the house when the shells killed them. According to the residents, the military mistook their community for a Boko Haram hideout, adding that since the bombardment, which the military admitted to have carried out and pledged to investigate, the community is yet to get answers and interventions.
In the meantime, 1 out of the 12 victims of an airstrike on Mutunji community in Maru local government area of Zamfara state receiving medical attention at Yerima Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, died after days of successful surgical operations. The chairman, Medical Advisory Committee of the hospital, Dr. Isa Bashir, confirmed the death, saying that, however, that all other victims were successfully operated and are recuperating as well. The report.
The 12 victims of the airstrike targeted against terrorists operating at Malele and Mutunji communities are receiving medical treatment at Yerima Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, and could not be discharged anytime soon, according to the hospital management, because of the degree of injuries they sustained. One of the victims died after a few days of surgical operation, while 2 were referred to Federal Medical Center, Gusau, and Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto. The 9 victims who are still at Yerima Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau, however, appealed to good-spirited individuals to come to their help to enable them recover.
The hospital personnel are taking care of us daily, giving us drugs. If the drugs are not available, they will go and buy for us. We thank them for that. Truly, the Zamfara state government has been settling our medical bills, and we pray God to bless them. We really need help from anyone that can because of our present condition.
The chairman of the Medical Advisory Committee of Yarima Bukure Specialist Hospital, Gusau, Dr. Isa Bashir, explained how the hospital has been handling the cases of victims who are currently with them.
When the victims were brought, that was on the 19th of December, the medical director now called me and informed me that as victims of bomb blasts, their treatments are also being offered. And that is exactly what happened. I quickly rushed to the hospital. I came down. I waited for the patients. And thank God, the first set of patients came in. I think there were about 8. And they were badly injured. And to God be the glory, the hospital management earlier has made a provision of extending our present accident and emergency unit to increase the capacity. And thank God, this has really helped us. So we just have to now open that new extension.
He said that the victims underwent orthopedic surgery given the degree of injuries which they sustained, and the state government has been paying their medical bills.
In terms of taking care of the patient after the surgery, we came to realize, because of the concern we have in terms of manpower, we have to start down again also at the level of management, also liaise with other departments, especially the head of nursing, because they are the one actually taking care of the patient. So he also on his own side also mobilized some people that have special training on taking care of those orthopedic patients, and they were also mobilized to that ward.
The Zamfara State Governor, Bello Muhammad, in a statewide broadcast, announced that the state government will take care of the airstrike victims' medical bills.
The Edo State government says efforts are still ongoing to rescue the remaining victims of Saturday's attack at a train station in the Ugube local government area of the state. Edo State Commissioner for Communications and Orientation, Chris Nehikare, disclosed this while giving an update of the attack. According to him, 20 persons were kidnapped and not 31, adding that while 7 persons have been rescued, 13 persons remained in the den of their abductors. He explained that the job of securing lives and property is in the hands of the federal government, noting that there's a limit to abilities of the local security network. Nehikare, however, said that the Governor Godwin Obaseki administration will do all it can to protect life and assets in the state, and as well as support security agencies in the safe returns of those kidnapped at the train station.
From intelligence, we have discovered that the kidnappers actually made away or successfully holding just 13 hostages, not 31 as previously thought. I think they must have taken maybe 20. 6 were rescued or 7 were rescued, and the balance is 13 with them. The operation is still ongoing, and we are confident that very soon the ordeal of these innocent citizens will come to an end.
Nigeria's government on Thursday says it has so far recovered stashed looted funds in millions of pounds, euros and dollars, which it repatriated back to the country to finance areas of critical needs. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, gave the figures at the ongoing PMB scorecard series by the Ministry of Information, highlighting achievements in the fight against terrorism using far-reaching legislations. Trustee Vishafiu Sulema reports.
Enumerating his ministry's achievements, the Minister of Justice says the Buhari administration has made a mark in the area of looted assets recovery, which he explained were utilized to finance critical infrastructure and social interventions projects.
In 2020, again, we succeeded in recovering additional $311 million from US and JZ. The federal government deployed that amount of money in strategic infrastructural development in this country.
Malami says the fight against terrorism criminal justice reforms and international arbitrations were pursued vigorously through international collaborations and robust legislations. The minister particularly cited how a whopping sum of 142 billion naira and over $507 million were saved from being paid as judgment debts.
The case of P&ID involved an arbitral award of over $10 billion against Nigeria. As at the time we came in as a government, what was in place is a threat for imposition of the payment of the arbitral award.
He said a total of 3,000 terrorism cases have also been profiled by the ministry, with over 1,500 cases prosecuted and 397 convictions secured against various terrorism charges. Coordinator of the PMB Scorecard Series and Minister of Information Lai Mohammed earlier said one of the legacies of the Buhari administration, Loco Oweta Bridge, is due for commissioning this month.
These infrastructures alone have cut the journey from the eastern part of the country to Abuja by 3 hours. Today, travelers coming from Enugu to Abuja who have no business in Lafia can come straight to Abuja via Kefi.
The PMB Scorecard Series, which has so far featured 18 ministers, was conceived to give account of the administration's stewardship from 2015 to date. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Police and military operatives on Thursday neutralized one of the masterminds of the attack at Ihiala local government headquarters in Anambra State. The operatives, who were responding to a distress call, recovered 2 locally made IED launchers, 7 undetonated IEDs, 40 pieces of live cartridges, 15 live 7.62 mm AK-47 ammunition, knives, charms, and other dangerous weapons. A statement from the Anambra State Police Public Relations Officer, Ikenga Tochukwu, said that the attackers had already murdered 3 vigilantes operatives on duty, beheaded 1, and set 5 buildings ablaze with IED and petrol bombs. Tochukwu added that the joint force operatives engaged the attackers and obstructed them from causing further damages, while some escaped with bullet wounds. He said that bodies of the victims were recovered while joint operations are still ongoing. Still on security matters, the Defense Headquarters says troops of the armed forces eliminated more than 50 terrorists in various operations in northeast and northwest theaters of operation in 3 weeks. The Director, Defense Media Operations Major General Musa Amadami, made this known while briefing journalists on the operations of the military across the country on Thursday in Abuja. Amadami said that the troop of Operation Hadinkai had between December 30th and January 12 eliminated no fewer than 25 Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa Province terrorists in the northeast. He said that the troops also apprehended 18 terrorists and 21 logistics suppliers, 2 foreign informants, and 5 kidnappers across the theater during the period. The Madami said that the troops also rescued 47 abducted civilians, while a total of 377 Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists and members of their families, comprising 52 adult males, 126 adult females, and 199 children, surrendered to troops. He said all recovered items, apprehended criminals, rescued civilians were handed over to the appropriate authority for further action. President Muhammadu Buhari has lamented the death of 7 personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps who were ambushed and killed by bandits while on official duty in Kaduna State. Consequently, the president has directed the armed forces to fish out the bandits responsible for the killings and bring them to book. According to a statement released by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media, Garba Shehu, on Thursday, the president described the loss of the NSCDC personnel as a tragic event and saluted the courage of the men who gave their lives to protect the nation. The personnel were attached to the Kaduna State Ministry of Mines and were on official duty at the Kuriga mining site when they were attacked. 5 other personnel from a sister security agency and local security service were also murdered by the bandits during the attack, which occurred at 10 a.m. on Monday. The Ondo State government has threatened to banish the Olukare and the Owale in Ikare, Akoko, the headquarters of the Akoko Northeast local government area of the state. This is coming after incessant communal clash between the two leaders. Recently, a violent clash in the community resulted in the death of 2 persons, while several houses and shops were set ablaze. Furthermore, the state government has relaxed the 24-hour curfew imposed on the ancient town from dusk till dawn from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Commissioner for Information and Orientation Bamidele Ademola Olateju disclosed this while briefing journalists on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting, said that the council resolved that any further crisis or escalation in Ikare will result in the banishment of the Olukare and Owale. Now, the member representing Taka Sumaila Federal Constituency of Kano State, Shamsuddin Bello Dambazo, has called for sacking of heads of security agencies who fail to deal with security challenges caused by criminal elements in the country. The federal lawmaker, who made the call while briefing members of the House of Representatives press corps on the numerous cases of attacks across the country, with the recent being the kidnap of 32 passengers waiting to board the Itakpe Warri-bound train last week Saturday. Dambazo suggests that heads of security agencies, including the military, must be held accountable to ensure that they live up to the expectations. It will be recalled that the Independent National Electoral Commission recently raised concerns that the 2023 general elections may be postponed or cancelled due to insecurity in the country. The alarm came on the heels of various attacks on INEC offices in many states.
The security agencies have a task to perform, and that task is to secure the lives and properties of Nigerians. If you are not doing what you are supposed to do, you will get changed. That is how it should go, so that people will be on top of their game. There's no sentiment in play here. So the government is not playing. They have targets that have been given to the security agencies to ensure that Nigerians can exercise their right to vote and put in leaders that they believe will be able to usher this country into the next phase that we want to go to.
A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit by the People's Democratic Party seeking an order to disqualify Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State from contesting the state governorship election later this year. Delivering judgment, Justice Inyang Eko dismissed the suit for being incompetent and an abuse of court process. He said the PDP lacked the right to sue since it wasn't a participant in the All Progressives Congress governorship primary that produced Abdulrazak. The judge added that Section 29, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act 2022 provides that only an aspirant who participated in a party's political primary can seek to disqualify another for giving false information, as in this particular case. Now, Justice Eko added that there is no provision in the Electoral Act or the Constitution that gives a political party that legal right to challenge the candidacy of an aspirant. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at why care for the elderly is children's business. Details of this and more after the break.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists: Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria. Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited. Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue, NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
A Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back from that break. This is the News Hour on Trust Television. Let's take a look at some of the top stories again. Victims of Yobe airstrike lament neglect 2 years after as one dies in Zamfara. 397 convictions secured against terrorists. Now, the Ohinohi of Ibraland, Dr. Ado Ibrahim, has said that the allegations leveled against him during the recent state visit of President Muhammadu Buhari by the Kogi State government is unfortunate and unfounded. The monarch said this in his response to the query given to him by the Kogi State government. He said that there was no iota of truth in the allegations leveled against him, stressing that there was no official letter informing him of the visit of President Buhari on the 29th of December to commission the legacy project of Governor Yahaya Bello. He said the State Commissioner of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Salami Ozigi, visited him on the 28th of December 2022 at about 9:30 p.m., informing him of the President's visit to Okene the following day to commission some project. He said, I added that the visit Didat instructed him to stay back in his palace while the president will be coming to pay him a courtesy visit upon his arrival, and later commissioned the Ohinoi's palace at 10:10 a.m. and also alleged that Mr. President was to commission another palace other than his current palace that he has been occupying since he was coronated in 1997. He said despite the unfortunate incident, he will continue to reign over the good people of Ibra land with good conscience and convictions, as he has been doing since he became their paramount ruler. A Jos-based pastor, Albarka Bitrus, arrested for arranging his kidnap, has explained why he wants to collect ransom from members of his church. The Plateau State Police Command on Wednesday paraded the pastor after his arrest. The command said that Pastor Albarka Bitrus of Ekwa Church, Jos, had on several occasions staged his kidnapped and allegedly collected ransom from church members. The police said that the suspect has been conspiring with a gang to commit the crime. The accused pastor, who says he regrets his action, confessed that he staged his kidnap due to financial challenges. According to the police, the suspect had collected 400,000 on November 14th last year, and on 30th of the same month, he staged another self-kidnap and collected the sum of 200,000 naira from his sympathizers who are members of his church.
First one, when I do it, I feel guilty. The second one, I just go out. The first one, I go out to kill myself after when I come out from the first one. Then the money I went out with has finished, and I'm thinking of coming back. I'm totally confused of what to do. That is why I look for someone to make a different phone so that I'll get money to come back.
The Joint Border Patrol Team of the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted consignment of explosive and other prohibited items with cumulative duty value of over 1 billion naira in the Northwest. The sector coordinator, controller Adesami Joseph, said this while briefing journalists in Katsina on the activities carried out by the team against trans-border crimes. Abdullahi Amadi reports.
The team succeeded in seizing 501 caliber of live ammunitions and 39 cartons containing 6,240 pieces of explosive devices and pieces of jackknives, which were handed over to DSS Kebbi State Command. Controller Adesami said the team has also seized 400 pieces of rhino horns and 1,100 pieces of dried donkey skin.
The border drill was actually set up to enforce the closed borders. It started in 2019 when the federal government felt the security of the country was being threatened. So along the line, after some times, they were satisfied with the results. Some were opened, and we were now saddled with enforcing the closure of the ones that are not yet opened.
Other seizures made by the team in last year include illicit drugs like tramadol and cannabis sativa, which were handed over to NDLEA. Similarly, the team has in its custody several vehicles smuggled into the country through illegal routes.
I want to use this means to warn those who are still in this habit that as long as the border drill sector 4 is on ground, they will never succeed with their nefarious activities. Nigeria belongs to all of us. Whatever decision government has taken is for the interest, the best interest of the nation, and they should comply with it. And if they dare not, they will meet us at the battlefront.
This is in addition to assorted fertilizers, Chinese green tea, foreign food items such as rice, spaghetti, flour, salt, and milk, among many others. The Sector 4 Coordinator, Controller Adesami, however, calls on citizens of the country, especially in the Northwest region, to sustain the synergy and cooperation to reduce the menace of trans-border criminalities. Abdullahi Ismail Amadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Borno women have been advised to unite in order to reduce the gap in the ratio of women to men in the political arena of the state in the 2023 elections. Analysts say that the participation of women in politics has strongly declined in Borno State due to cultural norms and religious sentiments. Bitrus Kuruti takes a look at the chances of women that could be elected into political offices in this year's election. The report.
Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa, with a population of over 200 million, with women constituting 49.95% of the number. In the political space, women comprise almost half of the electorate. According to the United Nations, the national average of women's political participation in Nigeria remains at 6.7% in elective and appointive positions, which is far below the global average of 22.5% target. Borno State has over the years experienced poor representation of women in both elective and appointive positions at the local government, State House of Assembly, as well as in ministries, departments, and agencies of government. In the 2023 elections, 16 women are contesting for political offices in the state, but some residents fear that they may not win.
Most of the women politicians are not popular like the few ones we have. For you to be well accepted, you have to be the giving type. Empower people like giving them employment and others.
Da akwai wata matan da ana kiranta Inna Galadima. Ita mata dan fito amma yanzu ta koma baya.
It's difficult for women to get political positions because the men are politics players.
Baki mace ta zama shugaba a jihar Borno ba.
We are not denying women the right to become a governor or hold any political office, but at the moment, the time has not yet come. They should exercise patience.
The poor representation and participation of women in politics, according to some analysts, is due to cultural norms and religious doctrines.
But the problem is they are dependent on the status and positions of their husband. And then what they need to do is they should just get out from their own shield of emotional attachments. If you wanted to be politicians, they have to be pragmatists.
Women, we are the architect of our problem. We have the syndrome of pull her down. We don't celebrate fellow women like us. We have to give women chance. When we say we're talking about gender equality, we are not saying we want to be equal with the men. We are only talking about that we have the potentials, that we should be allowed to display our potentials.
As the elections draw closer, Nigerians are waiting to see if the 35% recommended by the United Nations for women inclusion in political positions, power, and decision-making will be a reality in Borno State.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards until Sunday, the 29th of January 2023. The electoral umpire earlier fixed the collection deadline as Sunday, 22nd of January 2023. But following a meeting on Thursday, INEC said it has pushed the deadline by 8 days. According to the Commission, with reports of INEC officials extorting Nigerians at PVC collection centers, the Commission is launching an investigation into the allegations. Now, the challenges encountered in the ongoing collection of permanent voters' cards has made it imperative for the Commission to put in place modalities that will ease the process for people with disabilities. In this report, Noel Sampson gets the reactions of stakeholders and INEC officials on the need to ease the process for this category of Nigerians.
With less than 2 months to the 2023 general elections, Nigerians have been going to their different wards to collect the PVCs to enable them vote in the elections. With reports of long hours on queues and other such challenges, the stress is usually doubled for those living with disabilities. INEC is intentional about making the process less tedious for them.
We don't allow them to join the general queue. Instead, they could have a queue on their own. And we treat them just like we treat the elderly, the pregnant women, nursing mothers. You know, those ones, you don't expect them to stand in the sun, you know, in the heat and queue up. That stress would be a bit too much for them. So we have that. And in addition to that, there are special provisions that the Electoral Act has made, and so the chairman has gotten that to be provided. We have the Braille ballot guide. It's an embossed Braille ballot so that those who are blind can be guided by themselves. They don't need anybody intruding. You also have the sign language interpreter in locations where you have a lot of them. You have the sign language interpreter. We also have a magnifying glass for the albinos and those that have challenged with their sight. So all of this takes care of that.
Stakeholders describe such measures as commendable.
So, you know, inclusion most times in this case is not just about giving priority to people living with disabilities. It's also about accessibility. Where are these centers located? People on wheelchairs, can they access it? People that cannot walk, can they access it? People that are using crutches, can access it? And you are aware that most of these centers are mostly in primary and secondary schools and public spaces. And at least I've been to 12 or 15 of them, and I can tell you that, yes, they are accessible.
Well, INEC has done a good job. When they know you are a person with disabilities, like in my own center, it was easy for me, all right, because I did a transfer and indicated in my transfer that I'm a person with disabilities. So adequate arrangement had been made for me. So in most cases, when you tell INEC that you're a person with disabilities, at the PVC collection center, they go the step further. Once you mention your name or give them and tell them you're a person with disabilities, life becomes very easy for you at that point.
They also want the Commission to do more before, during, and after elections to ensure that persons living with disability are effectively carried along in the entire process. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, with less than 2 months to the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Adamawa State says a total of 505,937 permanent voter cards have so far been collected, with 253,774 yet to be collected. Salis Lawan speaks to some Yola residents on the challenges associated with the cards collection and their commitment to obtaining them before the closing date. The report.
In areas like Ajia, Tulimawa, Nasarawo, Yelwa, Alkalawa, and Dobeli, among others, where Trust TV visited, news of low turnout has characterized the exercise.
Yesterday the turnout was low, but today I saw some people collecting their voters registration cards. I saw like 5 to 10 people collecting their voters registration card. And I don't know, it may be due to also the economic hardship that we are in. Some of them will wake up early morning, will go to their working place, and so they may not have time to come for the PVC. But I urge that more enlightenment should be done.
Really is really a very simple and free process. Once you have the slip they gave you at the INEC office, by the time you present it, they will check your name in the list, and if it's there, they issue you your card.
The Independent National Electoral Commission is at the moment preoccupied with preparations for the conduct of free, fair and credible elections. To this end, the Commission is soliciting cooperation in voter mobilization and sensitization for the conduct of the 2023 general elections. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Hudu Yunusa, calls on all those who registered to collect their PVCs.
We had engagement with a good number of stakeholders in the state, and we are still engaging with more. Among the group we engage are the political parties, security agencies, civil society organizations, the media, people with disabilities, faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, youth organizations, women groups, and the media.
On security, the Commissioner of Police, Sinkiru Kayode Akonde, reiterated the commitment of security agencies toward a peaceful and successful conduct of the election.
I want to thank you again. The level of information and intelligence sharing amongst citizens and security operatives in this state is second to none in the nation.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has started receiving sensitive and non-sensitive materials, while more are expected to be delivered. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Elderly care, or simply elder care, serves the needs and requirements of senior citizens. It encompasses assisted living, adult care, long-term care, nursing homes, hospice care, and home care. Trust TV's Abbas Alibi in this report looks at the different perspectives on the role of the elderly and their expectations in the society. The report.
In Africa, care for elderly people has been the responsibility of family members and is usually provided within the family home. Some senior citizens in Kano are divided on whether or not they should be cared for by their children at home or in the public care homes.
It's a sign of backwardness to take parents elsewhere. Ideally, every 1 to 2 hours, you should go see them.
Their agreement was based on African traditions, culture, and religion.
Separating elderly parents from their children is a minus. Staying close to them could even be pleasurable.
While some of them argue that their children will not tolerate taking them to care homes, others argue that it is not bad. According to Dr. Kabir Said Sufi, the differences in perceptions is what results in the kind of care elderly people receive.
In the less developed countries, African countries most especially, the elderly are seen as custodians of culture and wisdom, which is always required to be tapped by the society. Hence, they are being kept close, and there is a special relationship between the elderly and the young. Hence, the elderly in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, and of course other countries that are less developed, there is a bond between the elderly and of course the rest of the society. Hence, they are being kept at home, being kept very close, and an interaction is always done with them so as to reap the benefits of this culture and wisdom, which is expected to reside with them.
Emphasize the need for Africans to copy some essential inputs of elderly care from the Western world, just as the Western world needs to emulate the African culture of taking care of the elderly.
In terms of the needs, this is something that we need to look at what the needs are and copy from the developed countries. And then in terms of keeping them close to the family, keeping them very close and engaging instead of taking them to care homes, keeping them within the family, I think is something which the developed countries can emulate from Africa.
Some elderly persons said their main challenges is access to medical facilities, adding that their priority is to have access to medical facilities like those who live in the urban area. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Kano.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. We'll take a short break, and when we return, the news continues. Welcome back. Welcome back from that break. Now we'll take a look at business updates as presented by Chiamaka Nwafo.
Nigeria's apex capital market regulator, Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has commenced full enforcement of a regulatory framework that mandates mutual funds managers to hold clients' investment assets under independent custody. Director General, Securities and Exchange Commission, Lamido Yuguda, said the full enforcement of the custody requirement on all mutual funds was part of efforts to enhance investors' protection and boost confidence in the market. He added that after a thorough review of the status of privately managed funds, the Commission mandated that Rule 95 should also apply to all discretionary and non-discretionary portfolios and products to ensure the protection of investors' funds in the fund management space. According to him, the Commission had also successfully carried out a comprehensive on-site inspection exercise on the 95 registered fund managers to ensure that both public and private funds registered by the Commission are being operated in line with the relevant rules and regulations. Under the rules, clients' funds for collective investment should be held in safe and secure custody or electronically administered. The Indian government says Indian companies operating in Nigeria have invested $19 billion over the past 4 decades. The Indian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Sri Balasubramanian, disclosed this in an interview in Abuja. He added that the amount comes from over 135 Indian companies operating in Nigeria, mostly based in Lagos. Trade between Nigeria and India has strengthened over the years, resulting in a good number of Indian companies establishing their presence in Nigeria. The bilateral trade volume between Nigeria and India has reached $15 billion for the financial period 2021 to 2022, representing an increase of 69.80%. The 6 largest Indian companies operating in Nigeria are Tata Africa Services, Dana Group, RT Group, Mercure Healthcare, Dufil Prima Foods, and Chi Limited. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian stock market sustained an uptrend on Thursday, going back-to-back as the all-share index appreciated by 0.62% to close at 52,048.85 points. Investors gained 174 billion naira as the market capitalization grew by 0.60% to close at 28.350 trillion naira. The market bread closed positive as 35 equities appreciated in their share prices against 9 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 211.7 million units of shares were traded in 3,462 deals valued at 7.7 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mwafo.
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has invited friendly countries to support his administration's efforts to address problems of insecurity and corruption while diversifying of the economy and promoting good governance. He says Nigeria is working closely with ECOWAS to deal with insecurity in the West African and is implementing strategies to contain the spate of unconstitutional changes in government. The president spoke on Thursday at State House in Abuja while receiving letters of credence from ambassadors of Switzerland, Sweden, Republic of Ireland, the Kingdom of Thailand, and the Republic of Senegal and the Republic of South Sudan. Kehinde Amodu reports.
As the curtains draw on his administration, President Muhammadu Buhari is utilizing every opportunity to articulate Nigeria's challenges and the efforts of his government to overcome them to the international community. Thus, the presentation of letters of credence to 6 ambassadors on Thursday was expanded into a larger affair where speeches were made. President Buhari is acknowledging the support of countries in his administration's campaign to deal with the challenges of insecurity, such as kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, drugs and human trafficking, as well as threats posed by environmental challenges resulting from climate change in the Lake Chad region.
Indeed, matters of security have become the business of all the nations of the world to work together with both bilateral and multilateral platforms and build consensus in order to overcome these challenges. Our doors are open to friendly countries, such as yours, to support Nigeria in its efforts to address the problems of insecurity, fight against corruption, diversification of the economy, and our efforts in providing good governance.
But as Nigerians prepare to elect another government at the general elections on the 25th of February, President Buhari is urging foreign government representatives not to meddle in Nigeria's internal affairs.
I urge you to be guided by diplomatic practice to ensure that your activities remain within the limits of your profession as you monitor the build-up to the elections and the conduct of the general election itself.
Responding on behalf of his colleagues, Ambassador of Switzerland assured the Nigerian president that they will exercise their functions as ambassadors extraordinary and plenipotentiary with dedication to the best of their knowledge and belief and for the mutual benefit of their countries.
It is my honor to express our gratitude and pleasure to you for our accreditation today. In particular, we thank you very much for the beautiful, dignified ceremony that your protocol services organized.
Wishing Nigeria peaceful, free and fair elections, the ambassadors extended their goodwill to the president on his remaining days in office. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
Away from Nigeria, 9 people were killed when suspected terrorists attacked a mosque in northeastern Burkina Faso, local sources said on Thursday. The attack happened around nightfall on Wednesday in the village of Gulgonto in Burkina Faso's Sahel region when assailants arrived on motorbikes and arrested worshippers inside the mosque, a witness said. Now, Gulgonto is located close to the gold mining town of Falagonto, which lies near the border with Niger. The area has suffered several incursions by suspected terrorists since the start of the week, the sources said. Thousands of people have died and more than 2 million people have fled their homes since terrorists began launching attacks on Burkina Faso from neighboring Mali in 2015. Now we'll take a look at sports updates as presented by Adeni Ajishafe.
As participating teams gear up for the 2023 African Basketball League BAL, organizers have concluded plans to put in place scouting events for aspiring players. The 2-day scouting event, which will feature 30 players from Africa, Europe, the United States, and beyond, will take place at the One Ball Training Center in Paris, France, from January 15 to 16, 2023. The players will take part in the anthropometric and athletic testing, positioning skill development, and 5-on-5 games in front of attending scouts, coaches, and executives from the 12 club teams that have qualified for the 2023 BAL season. The top BAL season will feature top 12 clubs from 12 African countries that will play a total of 38 games in Dakar, Cairo, and Kigali over 3 months in 2023. And in football, 5 games were played on match day 6 of the Nigerian Women Football League, with Delta Queens holding former champion Rivers Angels to a goalless draw in a keenly contested game. In Yola, Adamawa Queens relied on an 88-minute penalty from Ijeoma Obi to edge visiting Nasarawa Amazons. Conference Queens rallied back from a goal down to beat FC Robo Queens 2-1 in Lokoja. Falashade Jamilusi put Robo Queens ahead in the 55th minute, but 2 quick-fire goals from Zainab Aziz in the 74th and 80th minutes ensured a 2-1 win for the host. Defending champions Bayelsa Queens head host Nigeria Tels to a 1-1 draw in Abuja. Julius Sunday gave Bayelsa Queens the lead in the 17th minute before Agama Ziberekefehe scored a leveler in the 73rd minute. Edo Queens and Delta Queens top Group A and B tables in the NWFL. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we wrap up the news hour for tonight. In case you've missed, you can always catch us across all social media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube. I am Ayuba Ilia. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.